Who's going fishing Sunday?
I am. Let's go.
Let's go.
I am.
I'm in.
What? Wait. Can you put that cat down?
Yeah. The cat's in.
I was trying to be a Bond villain. I apologize.
Yeah. It's warm by this fire, Buck.
We're not even in the fire. We need to jump in the current.
We got to cool off in the current.
I just want everyone to know, I mean, we say it all the time. You have 7 best friends when you tune into us every week.
And it's wild because we used to say that, but now it's so real.
And it was just a real existential morning, guys.
Got all existential.
Did you short drift them?
Well,
That's a yes.
That's what the Canadians say.
no bueno.
No bueno.
If there is a traditional Canadian saying, no bueno.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Rutten River Pursuits podcast. We are in the current.
That's nice.
Tonight, I have with me.
It's flowing.
I'm Steve.
I'm Will.
Hey, I'm Ryan.
This is Dave.
I'm Catfish.
And I'm Kyle. We had quite the week this past week, didn't we, fellas?
Yeah.
We sure did, bud.
So,
Where have you been?
Yeah, where you been, bud?
I had a little fluid leak.
What
Had to
is
take care
that?
of
The
that.
hang?
It's not like you're
Got a radiator that needs plugged? What?
You're
Well,
not some kind of environmental engineer.
I did, but the radiator got plugged. There's a little bit of a stomach bug.
Just say what happened.
There's a little bit of stomach bug going through the Parkins household.
Oh,
Bless your heart.
That's no
Butt
good.
water.
Wiped us out clean.
Code Brown.
Everyone got it.
Everyone.
Oh, man.
Started with the wife, then jumped to the boy, and then hit me last.
Well, at least you got you last.
Sounds
Yeah.
like they care about you.
Yeah.
They really wanted to share that.
You could see it coming.
Sharing
then.
is caring.
You didn't want to be left out.
Well, he tried to share, and I didn't want it.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I tried sharing
Well,
with Will
I
last
was-
Tuesday.
Yeah, well, no, I went to whenever I was there the first time for the archery season opener. Kyle's son had a little bit of something going on, and a little bit of a petri dish, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Yeah, we call him Little Petrie.
And Kyle's like, fist bump my son; it'll be good for his morale. And I'm like, no,
I'm afraid.
I'm afraid of germs.
I don't want to get sick.
I'm like Howie Mandel, shaving my eyebrows.
Huh?
That would look good on you, bud.
Yeah, I could see that.
I'm just saying. I'm a little bit germaphobe this time of the year.
Why would you shave your eyebrows?
I'm susceptible to everything, and I get nervous.
He's got a weak immune system.
They got a vaccine for everything.
I'm wussy. No, that doesn't work with me. I get it right
Well,
away.
shave your
Somebody
eyebrows,
start-
and if that helps, bud, whatever.
whatever I'm into.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, I survived that onslaught.
It's a good thing, or you'd have missed a concert.
I would have.
Yeah.
But we had a chance to go see Devin Allman and Justin Dean Corrigan.
JDC?
Yep.
Again.
Came back through town, which is really, really cool.
That's like the third time this year, ain't it?
Yeah, they're just all over, the area.
Nationwide.
Worldwide.
Yeah, because then they were in Europe since we saw them last.
Hanging out with Aunt Glasgow.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said that Justin said that was just
Oh,
The fishing wasn't as good, he said.
That?
What?
no. Well, he said it's a tighter tour, and almost no days off. There's it's like you're just bang 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 bang.
It's all business over there.
Yeah.
I saw his recent post. I thought it was epic when he said the bass pro is at Bass Pro. That was great.
That took me a second to put that together.
That's funny.
Could you imagine like hanging out with Aunt and Justin at the same?
I mean, stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. We love Justin. He's like a brother from another mother. Hardcore fisherman.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so good to just see him again. Unfortunately, Kyle couldn't make it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sorry.
Had to pull a UEN route.
Bottom dropped out.
Yeah. Lost the rear halfway there.
How many bathrooms do you have in that new house of yours?
2.5.
Well, your kids only have.
Well, now we know what happened to the other half.
You should have walkie-talkies for those days.
Absolutely.
What do you want for dinner, honey? Nothing. I don't want to eat nothing.
You don't have to make that sound. It already makes that sound for you.
Yeah. Where did you have to go? I didn't even hear. Where did you go to that concert? You have to drive for it?
Sellersville.
By you?
Yeah, not too far from me.
Not too far from Kyle. That's a beautiful. I mean, it's small, but it's so just a nice, quaint little venue, and everybody is like really respectful of. I think of the venue. Like, it's one of those things. I don't know. It's like a traditional.
Yeah, it's got a lot of history to it. It's an older theater.
But they get big names.
Yeah.
Yeah. How cool is that?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not far from you at all.
No, it's
Down where the deer flow, like the salmon of Capistrano area.
Yeah, it's maybe
Precisely.
maybe like 40 minutes to the east of me, so it's like even further east.
Not exactly that far away from us either. Like, I was surprised.
Is that like the area near Dorney Park?
That's
Allentown.
south of Dorney Park. Like if you hopped on Route 309 and just took that north, that would take you pretty much.
What would
right
that
to
take you north to?
Dorney Park.
Dorney Park.
It's an amusement park in that Allentown.
Allentown.
Okay, Allentown. I got
Cool. Well, it was good catching up with those guys. Who had some cool stuff in the outdoors? I'm gonna tell you honestly, I really didn't.
Why
you.
not?
Defer this week.
I didn't.
Well,
I saw some.
sorry, like I wasn't here to say my tales from the your first outings from Pennsylvania opener, and
Oh, yeah?
I had a nice. Well, I got completely screwed at work to hunt the opener on Saturday, but I was able
The
to
man
make.
stuck it to you.
He did. He did
Again.
again. But I was able to get out on Monday.
You
and,
stuck it to the man.
Well, I took
Or the deer.
a vacation day. I didn't. It was legit, so I can
All
talk about it.
Kind of. I mean,
man. Good.
you weren't available for the man to stick it to you.
Yes, exactly.
That's
but,
what I'm talking about, bud.
I thought that you played hooky from work and went to the races.
Oh no, that was last weekend.
I can't keep track of
Yeah,
all your endeavors.
It's tough. But that Monday, my dad and I were fortunate enough to get out, and we went to some state land, and he's probably set up like 500, 600 yards away from me on another ridge, another top of a ridge.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard this commotion.
A herd?
It was like right at sunrise.
Bison? Was it bison?
You couldn't really see anything out in front
Could
of
you
you.
describe the ruckus?
Yes, it was does snorting really bad. And I'm
Really?
like, that's coming from his direction.
So he stinks.
So the
I
rut
guess.
is on.
Oh, they were
But no,
right.
he was he was on the ground because we weren't able to put a tree stand in that area yet. But he said he could. There were the one.
Like how many? How many are we
There was
talking about?
3 or 4 does.
Really?
The closest one was like 5 yards from him.
What?
Flock
Yeah.
of does.
And so I mean, at that.
That's my band
That's
in the
tough
80s.
to conceal scent at that range. I mean, that's pretty close.
I'd say, yeah.
And
She's just going.
yeah, stomping at him, just
Stomping.
doing that.
But
And I
did she
could-
really
I could-
know where he was or anything?
Oh
She
no,
just smelled him.
She just knew something was up in
How
that area.
is he in a climber?
No, he was on the ground. He had a
Like
little.
just being still.
He had a stool. He had like a
He's
a
sitting
chair.
on the ground with the doe 5 feet away or
Yeah.
5 yards away, and she can't see him.
It was still pretty dark.
Really?
Yeah, he couldn't. It wasn't legal
I'm
shooting
relatively
time.
new to.
And
deer hunting.
He wasn't a 4-1 blind, was he?
no, he was not. No,
That can happen.
but
She wouldn't have been snorting.
they
at him.
moved off. I could hear him snorting from where I was. They moved off, and then like 7:30, 8 o'clock, I had that normal squirrel walking behind me situation.
You got squirrels too.
Yeah,
It's the same one. It's squeegees.
but but this
He's
one
everywhere.
this one turned to be a doe that's just walking right by my tree.
Yeah.
5 yards off the bottom.
A gray doe?
No, it was a nice big brown one.
Regular doe.
But
It's a pine doe.
it was definitely I could have taken a shot, but I was trying to get the camera, on it and all set up, and so that one passed, and I probably saw.
Were you in a climber?
I was in a climber. I saw 4 or 5 more, and then just like Ryan had, I had a buck pop up later in the morning, like 8:30, 9 o'clock. Just perfect scenario.
Yeah.
Come walking in.
Yeah.
I get the camera on him, all
What
real
size?
nice. Here it's a 3-point, just a little guy.
Darn those
So,
3-pointers.
Yeah, and then he
Who's
went,
3 on one side?
No, 2 and 1. Then he goes like,
Is this Maryland?
no, this is Pennsylvania. So
You could have shot that in Maryland.
yes, could have, but real close interaction with him. You know, I'm happy to get out, and I was able to really get back in tune with filming the deer movement,
Yeah.
and also kind of getting ready if I would want to take a shot. You know, it's a lot of moving parts going on.
Did
and
you
I was-
practice that on him, knowing that you weren't going to get a shot? Just
I had
practice
the
a little?
bow up, did not draw it, did not even put my release on
You
the
got to do that. You got to draw on him, and then you got to say, "You ever dance with the devil?" On the belt?
yeah, and then my finger accidentally hits the trigger on
No.
my release, and then I'm then I'm
Do
in
you say
handcuffs.
something before you shoot?
No,
Nothing.
I say, smile, you son of a... And then I
I
punch
should
the
start to now. Jeez, it sounds like a great idea.
Cheese.
But no, it was a great day to get out and
Catfish,
figure everything
you
out.
say something, don't you?
I say all kinds of things.
Yeah.
I don't really have a favorite.
Oh, gotcha. I thought you had. I can't remember. I remember years ago talking about it. I thought you had a favorite.
No, that's pretty good. I should say something. Figure it out.
It's that one last thing that you can just nail. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
take your time.
Normally, like it's that exhale, like you exhale
Yeah.
because you're like real still, like that. You know, like a,
Not me. It's that I poop myself and then I know to shoot.
you get
That's your.
that warm
Yeah.
sensation down your leg.
Oh, and then I just start shaking.
So machine leg starts going.
yeah.
You
But-
should shave your eyebrows. That will help.
That's what I've heard.
But for public land, and I haven't been in that spot for 2 years now. I was not able to hunt that area last season at all.
How come?
So it was just wasn't able to get up to there to that area.
Gotcha.
So
I thought there was some legal.
no
reason or something.
legal. I had some property I was able to hunt more
Legal Zoom.
locally, and that family that owns that property now has kids that want to hunt. So
Yeah.
we're only allowed to hunt doe there. So
Yeah.
Do you have any mountain laurel up that way?
there is not in that area, but there's some close by.
I went for a walk this week, and I got through some mountain laurel, and I don't know if it's all the rain, but I've never seen it so thick. It's ridiculous. I don't even know if the deer can walk through it.
For listeners that don't know what mountain laurel look like, describe it.
Google
Mountain
Looks like
laurel.
mountain
Pennsylvania
laurel.
state flower.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Is that the state flower?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Go figure.
That should be. I mean, I don't bear hunt, but I've always heard guys driving out the mountain laurel. So that should be real
it's
good for
really-
bear season.
It's really thick, but it's open enough underneath it that the deer can pass underneath it.
Most times.
Most times, a lot undetected, so they use a lot of it as escape routes. And
The wood part of it, it's really dense.
yeah,
You can't really crack it. You can't
No, you
break it
can't.
off.
if you got
You need your nippers along to clear a trail.
You're going to need a handsaw.
yeah.
Up where we hunt rifle season up by our cabin near State College, there are hillsides that it just looks like it's maybe knee high. Mountain laurel, big hardwood ridge. You're like, there should be deer all over the place in here. And you could go up a climber before opening day and you won't see a deer, because you'll come to find out later that stuff that looks like it's knee high, this whole ridge line that you can see for 300
Chest
yards,
high.
it's actually 8 foot tall.
Yeah, that's
And
what it's like.
There
this
were
year.
300 deer within 100 yards of you, but
Yeah,
you didn't get to
just
see
can't
any
see
of
'em.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy thick in a lot of places.
It's not like Greenbriers where you can just force your way through.
No, I hate
A lot of unfortunately, if you get into mountain laurel and a big section of it, it's very easy to get turned around and confused quickly because it's fairly
Absolutely.
it's kind of thicker foliage for Pennsylvania.
Is that
You
pink
don't want to get
flowers?
too far into it without knowing where you're at.
I think it can. I think it's more generally white.
Until we get in there, the
And-
flowers are gone.
Actually,
guess
come
so.
to now that you said that, Catfish, there's only ever been one time in my entire outdoor career, I guess we'll call it, but in my history, I've only ever gotten myself turned around or lost in the woods one time.
Yeah, there's no such thing as lost. It's called badly confused.
Yes.
You know where you are.
But
Turned
you just
around.
don't
I
know
have
where
a
you're going.
You mean
I
you've
have
been
a
turned
very,
around.
very good sense of direction.
Yeah.
And we were moving tree stands with the kids one summer. Kids came with me, and I'm explaining to them where we're at, where we're going, and we start walking through the swamp, and it's all just laurel. And you step over these branches and push these branches out of the way, and we got apparently turned around because when we came out of the Laurel, where I was expecting to be in the open pines and the truck's 200 yards straight ahead, one of the kids goes, "Hey, look at that. There's a trail camera right there." And I looked at it and I was like, "Hey, that looks just like, oh, that's my trail camera. How do we get over here?"
Yeah.
I didn't realize I was even turned around until I realized where I was standing at that moment.
That's a weird feeling.
It was unnerving. I've never felt like that before because I was like, wow.
Well, back home,
that's
there's
how
an
people
entire
get
mountain
lost.
full of that called Wapsie Mountain.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
a very eerie mountain, and it goes on for countless miles after miles. And every year they have to call a helicopter in and a search team for some hunter that went in there too far, and they disappear. They're gone. And actually,
I mean,
sadly enough, a hunter or two did not, make it.
Never found them.
Yeah.
Did you ever
What,
hear?
They
what
found
they
them
need
later.
to do is they need to just go down and then you
Off
keep-
Wapsie and end up in
keep
Altoona.
walking down.
Just
There's a
walk
Pizza Hut
down
at the bottom of the hill.
or classic attitudes or something.
yeah.
Grab yourself.
That's
a
where
whip.
you'll end up. Classic.
Yeah.
Yamaha, Bonheur Yamaha.
Just go to classic attitudes and get a whiskey sour until your family picks
Dance
you
a
up.
while.
But for the record, that's how I got myself turned around because I said, I'm going to follow the edge of this. We're in the swamp. We follow the edge of the Laurel. And as I followed the edge, it turned, and I never realized it was turning. And next thing you know, I'm
Bob, your
easily
uncle,
500
your-
yards away from where I
500
thought it
yards
was.
away.
So comparable in Alaska, they have things called altars,
Yeah.
which are very huge thickets. And if you would look at it from the, what do we call it, the 30,000 foot view down, like if you look down on it, it's a labyrinth of tundra, nothing, and then these altars, and they make a labyrinth maze. They're so thick. You get around one, around two, and maybe find your way through a thick one, and around, and all of a sudden, just like you did, you're back where you started going.
Right.
Huh.
How'd that
I
happen?
thought I went a mile, and I really just walked in a big
I
circle.
thought I was walking away from that grizzly bear scat.
like we were talking about last week when the tracking and all that
Yeah.
stuff is that Laurel. If you're hunting near there, in there, if you're above it, you can see wherever. But when you get down in it, that notch on the tree, the stump, it's gone.
One thing I didn't catch from last week, I mean, there's many times where I've had a track where I'm on my hands and knees, just really like magnify glass type searching.
Yeah, me too. Me
Yeah.
too.
Well, how does that work with colorblind?
Listen.
Not
to
only
us.
do you
just
have
like,
to
did
crawl
you-
around on your hands and knees to look for something, then you have to, when you think you see it, then you have to touch it and see if it
Taste it.
comes off the leaf. Yeah.
I
A
had
little
to
iron on that leaf, huh?
I had to track deer up in Bloomsburg twice in Mount Laurel, and whenever I was younger, and I'm sorry, not Bloomsburg, Blandsburg, and it was it's extremely physical, tedious work. And then if you do find a deer in that, it's
It ain't an easy drag.
no, you want that.
It's not. You should quarter it and walk it out. I mean, that's probably what you should do.
Just cook the
Yeah,
whole thing
I heard
there.
that.
Be the
Just
way to
cook
do
it there.
Just cook it. Just cook it there.
Because that dragging it out through Laurel is the worst. I don't know. I'm sorry.
No, I can believe it. I mean, any thick stuff. And it seems like deer always land in the thickest stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
Not always.
Catfishes did last
I heard
year.
I heard
What do
somebody
you mean not always?
could see one from a tree stand.
I have never experienced what I had
What happened?
the other day. I had a super good, happy, proud dad moment.
PDM.
That's right. I have not yet been able to fill any tags, but my son was able to connect on his first compound bow.
Hunty.
Way to go, Hunter.
Old
The silent
hunting.
intern.
Yes. Connected on his first archery.
He's going to be
doe
the
with
worst
compound bow.
podcaster ever, but I'm so proud. I want him to just grow.
Yeah.
He's getting there. He's coming along. I think he said hi to you the other day.
Did he?
I think to myself that he and I have a connection and that he talks to me, but he doesn't.
In your mind, he
Yeah,
talks
in
to you
my
all the
mind,
time.
There's no-
we're
yeah.
And for
He
being
just
his
grunts
first,
at you,
the shot was very impressive.
Well, that's what I really couldn't get over because he's killed a doe or he killed a buck with the rifle and he killed a doe with a compound bow 2 years ago.
With the compound bow or crossbow?
Sorry, with the crossbow 2 years ago, and this was his first with the compound bow.
Yeah.
He's really good, confident, and solid shooting this crossbow. But this year, and actually the night before we were laying stuff out, he said he wanted to take his compound bow.
Well, when we were shooting, when we were all there with the guys, and he was shooting with us, I just kind of glance at him from time to time. He looks like another dude. You know what I mean? Like he's got the form, he's got the setup.
Yes.
You have it all dialed in. Like there's nothing. There's no reason why he shouldn't do it. Like,
yes.
It's like he's literally come
he's ready,
full circles.
and we've worked on it. But I just knowing him and knowing how he shoots, he was more comfortable and confident in himself with the crossbow.
Right.
But he had it in his head.
So it was just
He's
a
taking the compound
thing.
bow.
He just needed it to click in his head and
He
say, I'm
finally
doing it.
made that decision. I'm going to make it happen.
Finally
on
bent
you.
his
And
elbow.
To me, what I knew he had the form. I know his bow can do the job. The arrows are perfect. He's got great broadheads that he was shooting. Like everything's right.
Yeah.
My concern is he's never been in a tree stand where he had to, while a deer's coming in, come to full draw, settle the pin, and squeeze off the shot without getting picked off. That's the big benefit for crossbows.
Right.
You know?
Absolutely.
Well, and also like your lean is different. You can't lean your upper body and not. You gotta like hinge at your waist when
Right.
you're shooting from a tree
If
stand.
you drop to that front arm,
Yeah.
Then
so
you're-
like
yeah.
your whole form's off if you're not hinging at the waist to aim from a tree stand while standing. So
and that goes back to what you guys, what you're doing in the summertime. If you're going to be hunting from an elevated position, you should practice shooting from an elevated position. So it goes
Agreed.
back to a lot of that prep work.
Totally agree.
And he's done that. He shot his compound bow from an elevated position. So I know he had all the mechanics down. My concern was just the execution of it while a deer's in front of him. And how he could compose himself. Because I know I start shaking like a leaf as soon as I see a deer.
Yeah.
Whether I think I'm going to get a shot or not.
Me
So
too.
it was just I
happens.
didn't know how it was going to go down.
Sounds like it.
I do. I get nuts.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
Monday morning in the fog, it's just
Shave my
way
eyebrows.
too hot, way too many bugs, and super foggy. We're sitting there in this big double tree stand.
Mm-hmm.
It's
So
almost
you were
like
right in the stand with them.
yeah, it was,
That's
double stand, and it was
You
almost
got to at that time because you got what his age is such that
yeah. I think it's under 16. They're supposed to be in an arm's length or
Gotcha.
something.
he's
Yeah.
pushing it though. He's getting close.
He's getting there,
I think 16 is the age that they can finally hunt by themselves.
Like, literally on their own.
Like so 15.
so I'm in the stand with him. I've got my bow,
Yeah.
because he's got his bow, and we've got our plans that we've laid.
You should have drew back too and just whack.
Well, basically, the plan that we laid was the first person that sees the deer gets the shot,
Oh yeah, that's cool.
and he got me.
Did he?
He got me.
Did you
Got
fall
you.
asleep?
The
bud?
worst part
He
was
button hooked you.
the worst part was 15 minutes before this deer came in, I had to actually nudge him with my elbow and be like, "Dude, you're just staring at your phone." He was playing little video games on his phone. I'm like,
Yeah.
"You got to put that thing away, or you're not going to see anything."
So it's your deer.
Which means it would be my deer. I shouldn't have said anything.
You
Because
Yeah.
then what he started to do is, as he's playing his phone, he's looking around a little bit more.
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't you know it, from my side of the stand, and it's great to hunt with him because he's a left-handed shooter.
Yeah.
I'm a right-handed shooter.
Yahtzee.
So
Stay
I
in
sit
your
on
own
one side
vector.
of this. Exactly. We've got our vectors laid out. Anyway, this deer walks into my vector, and he nudges me, says, "There's a deer in front of you." Dang it. He saw it first. So this thing comes past, my vector, and it gets in. I was watching him just to see how he was going to handle himself in this
Right.
scenario.
Right.
And he, because at that point we were sitting down, he actually stood up while the deer was behind a little bit of brush. At this point, it's maybe 25 yards, but it's quartering toward us, so it's coming in. And he's got his bow ready, releases on the string, and he's just focused on the deer. When it gets in behind this big giant oak tree that we had ranged, it was almost exactly 20 yards. The deer's head goes in behind that. He actually came to full draw.
Shut it.
The deer stepped out and stopped. He didn't have to go meh or make any kind of crazy noise.
Meep.
The deer took
Meep.
He didn't have to say meep. That would have been what he would have said. Meep. But that deer took one more step, and it stopped for him. It was a pretty significant quartering shot, like quartering to him.
Mm-hmm.
Not too hard that I would have told him not to shoot,
Right.
but I mean, that's a tough shot on a
Yeah.
quartering 2 deer.
So that's why the exit
Yeah.
wound was
He
far back.
smoked her.
Yeah.
I mean, he hung so close to that front shoulder. He sunk it right behind the knuckle. And, upon further investigation, the autopsy showed
Yeah.
he punched through the shoulder blade, broke a rib, hit the first lung, center punched the heart, busted out the second lung,
What?
and went out the other side, complete pass through with his 43-pound bow. And this deer was almost exactly 20 yards, quartering
It's a Madeira
Taurus.
setup bow. I mean, 43 pounds to another dude that sets it
That's
up
true.
is completely different.
The kinetic energy's off the chart. But because it was quartering tortoise like
fuel
that,
dragster.
at 20 yards, when it took off from the shot, and as soon as he released, I'm staring at the deer, and as soon as he released, I watched that arrow just sink, and I was like, oh my. I knew it was good. I didn't realize how good it was because
Yahtzee.
that deer at 20 yards quartering tortoise ran straight at us, and
Underneath you.
she dropped 10 yards from the base of the tree.
Oh.
And that was it.
Tough
She's just
luck.
laying there. I looked at him and I said, how did you do that?
It's all downhill from there.
Yeah.
It's like he knew his old man was colorblind and was going to be a terrible tracker. He was like, I got to do this right to make sure I see
Yeah.
this deer drop.
That's cool.
But yeah, it was. And
Belly's up.
I think, Will, you talked about this. Like, he never got shook up until it was done.
Yeah.
Really?
And then, like, I
That's catfish.
could feel the whole stand just shaking as like we're both just in awe. Like, oh my gosh, that just happened. Here she lays. And then I kind of looked at him. He looked at me, and as I'm reaching for the knuckles, that's when
when
he
it
started
happened.
in like this. Like he lost it.
That's
That's
awesome.
awesome.
Yeah,
Did
that's
That's
how
all
I
about
get
right there.
after I shoot.
Yeah,
Not
it's
until
afterwards. Yeah,
I don't.
Not me.
I'm nothing.
I
When the
see
deer's around me, it could be big buck. There's nothing.
as soon as I see him, I'm
Anybody else have that like the whole shot sequence is kind of just a dark myth, and then like you come to, and then like so like you're trying to like okay,
Black out.
yeah, what did I do? I saw the impact and everything, but did I punch the trigger? What like that whole like 30 seconds is not there, and then like I come back to.
I'll draw.
Yep.
Like when they're coming in, I'll draw, and I won't set into the peep into the kisser button. Like
Yeah.
I won't. I'll be ready, and like after they're like I pick the spot where they need to be and they need to come into and blah blah blah. When that happens, then I don't know. It just
Right.
Then it that's
Just-
to
it
what
just,
you're saying.
like instinct takes over.
Yeah, a
just-
lot of instinct takes
Yeah,
over.
the practice that you've done all summer just takes over.
Yep. And then after the shot, then I'm like, oh, what now? What what's going on? Where'd they go? What's going? Like it.
all that adrenaline.
You
I mean,
just
your
start
body was
freaking out.
Your body was thriving on it, and then all of a sudden you realize the overload,
Yes.
and you just
You have this complete overload. Now what? Where's the deer? What's going on?
Do you know
Where did
what-
I shoot? What? Like
Did I really just shoot that?
Did that just happen?
you know what comes out of a situation like that?
Backstraps.
That's where that comes from.
That's exactly true.
Did you butt out that deer?
Not that deer.
But the next deer hunter gets,
Yeah.
it's getting his butt out.
Well, now that we've gone down that road, he gutted this one.
Did he?
That was
is all
also
him all
that was
the
the
way.
other arrangement.
You
I didn't
should've
need to be there.
climbed
He
down
saw
and
the
walked
deer.
out.
He shot the deer.
Yeah.
He found the deer because it came to us.
Didn't go anywhere.
It didn't really go. It went literally maybe 10 yards. And then other than me coaching a little bit,
Yeah.
he gutted the whole thing out. And then I showed him how his nice, lovely safety harness has a little drag strap on the back corner here. Because usually at that property, we have access to a tractor. And we'll go down and get the tractor and load the deer on the bucket and drive it up.
Right.
Nope, not this one.
Fits the bill every time.
Drag it.
Go on, get.
Yeah, you know what? And
And
I'm
he
not going
didn't-
to tell you how to be a dad because I'm not one. But I will say this: I would have climbed
But I'm
down,
gonna.
called for pizza. Just had the pizza. Made sure that the pizza guy was there when Hunter got back.
He beat me to back to the truck.
Dragging the deer.
He's dragging it like he took off. He was just He was happy.
He had it strapped on like a world's strongest man competition.
He literally ran out of the woods.
Magnus for Magnuson.
And my plan was, because there's a big like open, what used to be an ag field, but now it's like an overgrown yard.
Yeah.
Where these people have built a house. There's 300 yards from the edge of the woods across this open field, and I drive my truck back there all the time. Now, not when we're hunting. When we're hunting, we park at the house. We walk through that. Mm-hmm. So my plan was to make him drag it about 500-600 yards up the top of the hill to the edge of the field.
Right.
And then lay it there. Let's go get the truck and drive down. By the time I got to the edge of the woods, he was halfway across the field. So I was
Holy
like,
buckets.
let him keep going.
Yeah.
He's a beast.
Well, I mean, I had to carry his pack and stuff.
Bless your heart.
He's dragging a deer. Yeah.
Congratulations, Hunter.
He's young.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. Way to draw blood.
Yeah.
Bobby.
Congrats, Ryan.
Congratulations.
Yeah, good.
Not that
good
he
day.
listens to our awesome podcast.
Everyone, he's a big fan.
I'll bet that's the best tasting meat he's ever had.
Right now, it is butchered up. All we have laid out are the tenderloins that we're going to be doing on the grill. The rest of the stuff he wanted cut up for jerky.
Hunter
He
hasn't
wanted his
called
first
me.
one to be almost all jerky.
Didn't he call you to
He
talk
hasn't
about
called me to partake in the feast.
We didn't get to feast upon it yet.
Yeah,
The backstraps are coming, I think, tomorrow night.
I'm just
Or
saying.
not the
I didn't
backstraps,
get
the
a call or
tenderloin.
a text. Uncle Will's over here waiting.
He probably just lost your number. It's no big deal.
I'll let him know. Or he'll hear it, I guess, when he listens to the podcast, since he listens to them all.
There you go.
That's cool.
That's cool.
That is
like,
cool.
From a dad, just to see the whole plan come together.
Yeah,
and,
Stevie, your kids kill anything?
When he connected last year,
caterpillars.
he connected last year on his first buck with a rifle. That was great. But this was just different because of all the extra parts and pieces that come into play with
Yeah.
archery equipment.
That's
For
So
sure.
this was
Nice.
This is pretty cool.
It's almost the perfect campfire story. I loved it.
It is.
You can tell it again if you want.
Well, hopefully we recorded it.
Nope. Yeah,
We
still
make no
still rolling.
guarantees.
Oh,
But I'll let you know next
All right.
week.
I had a really awesome first time for me happen.
Your son isn't old enough.
I'm not talking about him.
You're not going to top that story.
I'm not trying to top
Tommy
it.
topping.
Tommy Story Topper.
Story Topper. But now this past weekend,
You took him out for youth season.
yeah,
So, so he shot a couple of
You
pheasants.
put him in your
Got
backpack,
that
and that's
Bill
good.
got a deer out of our backyard. No, I actually got 2 buck on film, kind of sparring.
yeah.
Really?
Saw
Yeah.
some of that footage.
And it was, the whole experience was just awesome because I saw the one buck come through earlier in the night, and he was out of range. I couldn't really make out how big he was, and then probably maybe an hour before final shooting light, him and another, it was an 8-point and a 7-point, came out at like 30 yards, and we're just like, just sparring like they do this time of year. Nothing serious, just locking antlers and kind of pushing each other around.
Sure.
Good practice for the
Yeah.
battle to come.
But it was just awesome because like I never really had that experience in the woods of having the deer,
Right in front of you.
Yeah, 2 fairly decent buck going at it like that, and it was just totally awesome.
It's louder than you expected.
Oh, absolutely! Like I was sitting there laughing because my brother was probably sitting about maybe 100, 150 yards from me, and I thought he probably thought I was messing with him because the way that the land sits, he couldn't really see me or where I was at, but you could hear the
No,
antlers.
that's not because of the way the land sits. I'm not going to let you
I
tell the
somehow
story.
knew this was coming.
Oh,
It's
here we
because
go.
there's so much foliage yet around. There's branches and sticks and
It's
trees.
not foliage; it's cover.
There's even like what do they call it? Artificial limbs.
I heard that.
I think that
She's just like hunting
We're
right in the middle of the
patenting that.
mountain laurel or what?
no,
Pretty
they're-
thick.
It's completely. Kyle doesn't trim anything,
We
and he's
trim.
like, "Oh, look, there's an interesting. I can shoot a deer through that hole."
we're like trick shot archers. We like to have a bunch of branches and see how much.
It's
you can
the
pass
hammer
through.
course of archery. I don't love it. It's not fun. I break arrows.
In my defense, I set a video clearly displaying the shooting lanes over the weekend of the stand that Will was sitting in. So I'm not sure what the fuss is about.
I think you did your story justice. We're gonna move on. I think I hear the topic hat shaking.
Oh, the
Is that
Better
what
the
that
Hunt
is?
topic hat?
Sounds like $2 sparring.
Head on over to betterthehunt.com.
BetterTheHunt.com.
It's what they do.
It's
Pick yourself
a
up a
shaking.
bow mitt.
Oh man, they're flying everywhere tonight. This hat's really rolling.
Grab 2 if you want.
Grab
One for
3 or
your
4.
buddy.
You might as well with the special. You can get 20% off.
Speaking of that special,
How about that?
once they're in your cart, go over to the promo code area and enter Rut and River
Shift
20.
F7.
That's the ampersand, not the word and.
Yeah.
So RUT Shift 7 RIVER 20.
Yes.
Rut and River 20 to get 20% off.
That's madness
20%.
right now. I'll
Go
tell
on,
you.
get.
And because I like you guys,
Go on.
I'm probably gonna throw in some free shipping.
What? What?
Oh snap!
I
Free
can't-
shipping and 20% off the order.
It's
That
basically free at that
is
point.
good stuff.
Man.
For a warm ham and in the wintertime when you're bow, give me a break. Come on.
Yeah, come on.
Did you say a warm ham?
He did.
I love a warm ham in the tree stand.
Stevie, you're going to get carpal tunnel. You keep shaking
Man,
that
this-
thing.
this
Pull
is-
that thing
This
out
is
of
better
there
than Hunt
already.
Topic Head.
Oh,
Still
man.
shaking. What do you got, brother?
This week, our Better the Hunt topic is cover and attractant scents. When and why?
Ooh.
Cover or attractant?
Yes.
Yeah.
When and why?
When
When
and why?
you use it.
Now, I got start. All right.
You guys
gotta
fight
give
it
me-
out.
The
Before
miser boys are going at it.
I conceded to you last time.
Well, you'll do it again.
So
Get used to it.
Oh, bless your heart. God love you, Will. Go ahead.
No, it's your show.
Oh,
So-
well, now we're going to have a
all right.
battle over who concedes.
All right.
I
so
concede
I'll
first.
just take it.
I'll let you
go
have
ahead.
it.
So, before you even talk about these products, tell me about a deer's nose, and like on a scale of, I don't know, what's something that can't smell well to something that smells fantastic. Where is a deer at?
From a bucky to a bloodhound.
From a bucky to a bloodhound.
I would say the deer is about 3 steps ahead of the bloodhound.
Really?
That'd be my guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Like something like 10 million or so olfactory sensors.
here's the way I understand.
Yeah, what is the units on smell?
Parts per what?
PPMs?
Yeah.
Parts
Oh,
per-
yeah.
I believe
per
they
million?
I believe they measure it in olfactory sensors,
Olfactory sensor units.
which basically is how many little different smellers they have in their
OSUs.
nose cavity.
How many does a human have?
Here's the deal.
I have like 3.
I don't know the official
That's
numbers.
3.
Here's the way I've always it's been explained to me how it works for a deer, right?
Yeah.
They have terrible vision as far as just like they have.
I think they're colorblind.
There's rods and cones going on there, but their vision is not the best. If a deer sees you in the woods, he's kind of going to look at you and go, "Huh, wonder what that is."
Here's the numbers.
Their ears are good.
Yeah.
If they hear you in the woods, they're going to be like, "Huh, I don't like the sound of that, but I wonder what that is." Their nose, however, is their best defense, and if they smell you, you're going to hear that sound that Deaky's dad heard, and they go.
You done messed up.
Yeah,
And
That's it.
and by the numbers,
Give
There
us
it
the
is.
numbers on this, Kyle.
humans have 5 million olfactory receptors.
I'm below average.
Dogs have 220 million olfactory sensors, and the white-tailed deer comes in at a whopping 297 million olfactory sensors.
I actually think the black bear's more than that.
Yeah, I believe black bears are above whitetails with that.
More than likely, probably.
Yeah, they can smell donuts from a mile away.
Yeah.
They did a study on black bears I saw one time. They put some kind of food in a block of ice that was like 2 feet thick and put it in that bear could find that through the ice. It could smell it.
No way.
Yeah. They're
bet
pretty
that was a
pretty
snow
impressive
cone.
animals, bears. But their eyesight sucks. So
Yeah.
like their smell's got to be good.
Yeah, I've always thought with deer with their sight is like they catch the movement. They don't really see you.
Yes.
They're
Yeah.
like T-Rex. Their vision's based on movement.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
So there you
not,
go,
Not
Steve.
that I
even-
learned that off a TV show.
But
right?
even if they catch the movement, that's when you see the deer like stomping and bobbing their heads
Trying to get
because
you
they're
to
trying to
move.
get you to move again.
And I
they don't know-
do that. I do that for them.
Will moves in motion.
I freak
with
out.
The deer.
Why'd you do that?
So tell Stevie whenever a deer can't pinpoint you, but he thinks he may smell something, what does he do to make himself smell better? Like, what can he do to try to help smell you better?
Well, the first thing you're going to do is turn and circle you and get downwind.
Correct.
But they'll also lick the nose.
They'll lick the nose.
They lick their nose.
So next time you're trying to find where the stromboli is, just lick your own nose and follow it.
I'll
get
try
a lot.
that.
You get a lot more dates that way
Yeah.
too if you lick your nose in public.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the topic had again was what we're using cover scents.
or attractive.
Yeah.
And
And
attractive
when
sense.
or when
When
would
and
you
why?
do it? Why would you do it?
The
So-
why is very important on this.
Now this is what I'm doing, what I have done, and I can't tell if it's
I'll
successful or
concede
not.
to you. Deke,
Oh,
go
sorry, I
ahead.
just
The
wanted.
third concession has.
Sorry, I thought we were ready for this.
Yeah, just go
So-
ahead.
Dun, dun, dun,
Before
dun,
the
dun.
rut, I'm using a cover scent. Okay,
Before the rut.
before the rut, not runt, rut.
You
Before
can
the
use it
rut,
before
I'm
the
using a
R-U-T.
cover. Yes, I'm using a cover scent. When that activity starts, then I'm using a doe and heat or like an estrus type scent. That's just my personal.
That's like blackjack. I mean, it's kind of just a
that's
general.
right. That's what
That's
I've
the
been
move.
using.
Always hold on 11.
Yeah. 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dealer hits
Always
on
hit
17.
on 20.
So, for me, that's what I'm using.
What
I don't want to ask all the questions here.
What
but
cover?
I will
What
if I have
cover?
to.
What cover scents, DK, do you like to use?
I've used the nose jammer in vanilla. I've
Now,
used,
why would vanilla work since it's such an odd smell that doesn't belong in the woods?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The theory behind that is actually that it smells like white oak acorns. If
Is
you
it?
take
Is that-
white oaks, and we all know now why white oaks are more
Oh, yeah.
Preferable
they're much
than red.
better.
Because they smell
But
like vanilla.
smash
Man,
them up.
prefer
There's a
Yeah.
there's a
Gotcha.
vanilla y aroma to them. It's
Okay.
like a condensed white oak
See,
acorn.
this is good information.
And also,
great
so
stuff.
I didn't know
so
that.
like the nose
I
jammer,
didn't either.
and also the what's the one that's in like a deodorant looking stick?
The deer herd and
Conquest
stick
scents,
stuff. Conquest.
Evercalm.
You don't have to-
Evercalm.
Don't yell it.
Yeah, Evercalm. That's the one. Evercalm.
I
get
have
excited.
that. I
Yeah.
put it on my boots
Deer
sometimes when I'm
smells.
walking in.
Yeah, that's the one I feel for a cover scent. I feel like it holds on to you.
I'll put it on the bark on the tree behind me.
Yep.
Yeah, I put it on my boots and I put it on a tree beside.
I
the tree
use it
that I'm
as
gonna climb.
deodorant.
Don't wear it
That'd
as
be good.
deodorant. What's that disclaimer?
Disclaimer: not for skin use.
Not for deodorant use.
Number one,
It'll make you grow super tall.
Ryan will use it regardless.
I
In
do
that
love the
fashion.
smell of it. I'm not gonna lie.
Kyle like licks it.
I put it on everything.
Ryan during rut season puts drops of estrus just with an eyedropper on his pillow at night so he can sleep better.
I love
Yeah.
it. I love it
It's
so
like
much.
lavender for
Why wouldn't you?
Kyle actually bathes in the ozone and then covers himself in deer dander. I don't.
It's true.
I don't get crazy like that. You know, like there's some people that you can go crazy.
early
I
season.
will in the early season use an attractant because they're kind of in a feeding mode. That's my rationale, and so I've used downwind scents. The vanilla,
Yep.
is a big one. The first time I saw it happen, I thought, oh my gosh, they're busting me, because they're just their nose is up in the air and they're looking all around. What is this thing, And I thought they're smelling me.
Right.
And I kind of, I know I put the scent down, but it doesn't. When a deer acts a certain way, you believe it's you, and they're looking for more of this. Where is this coming from? And I had a deer follow the scent just on a string, come straight up the trail, right where I put the scent down, and it was just crazy, to see that actually happen. But it's kind of rare, what I mean. Not every deer is gonna fall for it.
What kind of scents are there for cover? We've talked about vanilla.
Oh, you name them, they have them.
Pine, fresh earth, that dirt scent.
Some guys like to use like fox pee to cover.
That was where I started. Was
Peanuts,
with a fox.
Really?
Fox urine.
peanut butter and jelly. Like there's all kinds of different ones. I mean,
It's just a personal preference, I imagine.
Apples.
Well, everybody's going to use whatever they
match
were
the
using
hatch.
the last time they killed one. No, that's what it is. What's the best doe and estrus? Well, every answer that you get, that guy killed a deer over it, so that's what's the best thing in the world.
I've heard lots of archers tell me that the deer are extremely attracted to the smell of marijuana. Like they'll come running for it. I hate.
Really?
Yeah, lots of archers say that. Lots of archers will say, and apparently, guys that grow it in the woods, they all have the same complaint: deer ate my plants. So, but I'm just saying, it doesn't have to be anything.
And then
Even
tore up
out,
the Cheetos.
completely out of the norm. Yeah,
Planted a
climbed the
Cheeto
tree
plot.
stand and got in my snack pack. But it doesn't matter really what it like. And then you have some really old school archers that doesn't. I have old school archers in my family that have shot deer in archery season with a cigarette hanging out of their mouth.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I think that it's whatever frightens them that's out of the norm. So my point with that is even though it is an attractant scent or a cover scent, it can be too strong. Like it's out of the norm.
Yeah,
I think there's
absolutely.
like the common ground there of don't like bathe in it. Don't dump a gallon of it out. You just want something in the air to get their attention.
Don't use an apple attractant when you're hunting over a cornfield.
So
The deer
But my point was when
Whatever.
Ryan said that, every archer will say this works, and this works because they shot a deer with, smoking whatever, with vanilla, with,
right.
whatever the case may
Twizzlers
be.
in my back pocket.
Yeah.
sticky bun in the front.
one of the
Well, sticky buns work for everything.
One of the things that I've
Common
started
knowledge.
to use right at the end of the season last year, but really this is the first season I'm doing it.
A butt out.
I want to see how this goes. It's a little bit of a test. Deaky mentioned it earlier, is the nose jammer. I was
Now,
pretty skeptical with that because it smells so sweet.
Real quick,
It's a very strong scent too. So.
tell
Yes,
them how that
nostrils.
works, though. It's
it's-
not the typical
It's-
applicator,
Right, and it's not a natural smell that the
Yeah.
deer are used to. It's an aerosol can,
which puts a lot of scent quickly.
and it puts it out.
You give them the raspberry.
Nobody gives them the raspberry.
So when explain how you're gonna apply the nose jammer.
You're using that with the wind, though. Like a lot, like
I have-
smoke going down, or your scent. Like you can use that to get it downwind. And
Right. I have two different size cans of it that I'm using in my setup right now. I've got a big can that I keep in my bag with all
That's
my
Kyle's
stuff.
nickname. Big can.
Big can in my bag. And then I keep a little travel size bag, a can in my backpack. I will use the travel size little deal that's in my backpack when I get up into the stand, especially in early season. It's hot. I'm sweating. If the wind shifts, if I feel the wind shift or something like that, I'll just just to get some of this extra stuff out there. But the big can, I'm spraying down my pack, the seat, like the stuff that may have picked up some extra odors that I didn't get a chance to actually wash since
or
the
you
last
stop
hunt.
for fuel at rudders, whatever.
Well, I'm never wearing any of my gear, doing any of that. But if you were, I would
Right,
definitely
right.
spray it down with this
It's
stuff.
keeping in it.
I always hit my boots
yeah.
with the big can of the nose jammer. What got me really interested in this product
When
is
do you do that?
this
Do you do
theory
it like at the truck, or do you do it so far out?
at the truck.
I do it at the truck as well.
Depends on how long my walk is.
Yeah.
For me, because I'm hunting a lot of public land.
Yeah.
So it's like if it's a good walk, I'll hit it like from leaving the truck and then hit it again like halfway.
I would probably just spray. Me personally,
Yeah.
I just do scent killer, and then like 100 yards out, then that's when I apply that stuff.
Yeah.
The refreshing of it is what I'll do when I start talking about sexual attractants,
Okay.
because you want the smell
When
to
I
be
get
stronger
this
at the end of the trail. So if you put it on
get
and
it
start
on.
dragging a rag at the end of the truck or at your truck,
Yeah.
by the time you get to the stand,
baby.
if you haven't refreshed it, it's weakest there. So when the deer crosses the trail, it's going to head towards your truck instead of your stand.
Makes
So
sense.
that's why I always refresh, but only on a sexual attractant. Cover scent, I'm not that concerned about. But what really intrigued me with the nose jammer stuff is the principle behind it. It's not a natural smell, but it's a very pungent, powerful, overwhelming smell. And what these guys were talking about, I heard a podcast where they were describing the product and how they came up with the idea. They drew a comparison. Think about when you walk into a really good pizza shop. All
Shut
you
your
smell is garlic and oregano. You walk in there and it is powerful.
Yeah. Yeah.
What happens after you're in that shop for 2 minutes?
Mooey garlic, mooey oregano.
That's all you
It goes
it
away.
does-
You don't notice
Yeah.
it anymore. You stop smelling it because your brain says, okay, I got it. It's really overwhelming. I can't deal with anything else. It literally shuts down that sense and stops feeding that information to your brain. It's not that the smell goes away or that you, quote unquote, you get used to it. Your brain says, okay, stop registering that smell. You actually stop registering any smell.
You know what's funny? This is funny to me. Is I work in a hospital, and
And the smells of a hospital.
no, my hospital does not stink, doesn't smell at all. But if I go to another hospital, I'm like, how can these people take this? It smells so terrible. Oh, you know what I mean. But my hospital, in my opinion, to your point, probably because I'm used to it and all that stuff, I don't smell. My hospital smells normal and fine.
I think that it can go the same. Side note, just 1 minute. I think it can go the same with noises. If you're hunting in an urban area and deer are used to hearing a dog bark every night and they're bedded behind that house. A deer's used to you getting up and leaving at 5:30 and hearing your truck door and your exact engine start for a certain time frame and leaving. They're not going to get up in the dark and leave even if they're 100 yards away. They get
Absolutely.
Their brain gets used to certain noises, whereas like you go out in the woods now and you're setting up tree stands and you clank something onto your metal stand, instantaneous, a buck 300 yards away goes, wow, what was that? It's different than what I was used to. So, I mean, I'm not saying go out year round once a week and clank your deer stand, but
Yeah,
an option.
I've always
it will shut their brain down to certain noises.
I've always kind of thought that when somebody's like, oh, my neighbor screwed up my hunt. And I kind of think about, well, does your neighbor do that throughout the year?
Yeah.
Then
Cut grass.
They were mowing their lawn.
it's
They
not
turned on the
gonna-
leaf blower.
Isn't that like what the Fitzgerald guys used to do? Like they would Dan and Dave or what
Guy.
Yeah, the crooked
Guy.
His
hats.
son Guy.
Yeah. Dan and Guy, they're constantly in their stands and they're pretty much natural.
Yeah.
Like they want people dander to be in the area and everything like that. So it's like they just overwhelm
yeah,
the area
Then they're
with
used to
them.
it.
Then
I mean,
the
One of
deer
the
are just
best
there.
tree stands I ever hunted, one of the most productive tree stands I ever hunted, was only about 200 yards from one of my buddy's single wide trailers up on a mountain. Where he didn't do lots outside. He had a little
Well, farmette.
he had a farmette and a garden and some chickens and all. But his wife would walk around and chain smoke, one after another, and she would walk down to the ridge and look over the ridge, which would be like 60 yards from my stand, throughout the year. A few times in my life, I honestly think that they gave no thought whatsoever of me sitting in my truck
It's
and
what they're
forgetting
used
my
to.
jacket overnight, so I know it smelled like that, and they didn't care because they were used to her in that area. Go half a mile away, it might be a different story.
Everything's about reducing the risk.
Go back to the smell. I didn't mean to.
No. That's the principle behind this nose jammer stuff, and that's what I want to really test the theory. But that goes to this point that I was just starting there. Everything's about reducing the risk. So you're going to have deer that aren't bothered by this or aren't bothered by that. The smell of this nose jammer product it's not a natural occurring smell, but it's also not a smell that they associate with danger.
Right.
But it is a smell that will overwhelm their senses, and their brains will literally shut down, and then you stand a better chance of that human scent that would spook them sneaking through.
Yeah.
So that's
the
a
principle
cover scent,
behind that cover
basically.
scent.
Okay.
But
Now take that one step further. I walk into a pizza shop and I smell garlic, like you said, and I'm like, oh, I'm hungry. Oh, I can't think of anything else but that pizza. I'm standing in a long line. I don't want to wait no more. I want my pizza.
Yeah.
Now, somebody walked by me with wings and I smell wings. Now I want wings. And then somebody walks by me with stromboli and I smell Why don't you just take 3 different scents of No Jammer with you so that whenever they're bored with one, you go, oh, vanilla, oh, strawberry, oh, banana, whatever the
They
case
only
may
have
be.
one, but you should write a letter.
Yeah.
And then that way it gets them 100 yards, 50 yards, 25 yards. I mean, till you're spraying them in the face with it going, I know you can't smell me, but
So
I get the principle behind it, though. I understand what
when
you're
you
saying.
when you have a set, you have a scent that you picked out. What do you do to implement that set? Is it just walking into your stand, or do you do something different? Like what?
This would be an attractant scent. You're switching. to.
yeah.
or in general.
Yeah.
Well, let's switch to attractant scents because that was the second thing.
I try to keep it natural. We said this before. In my bag, I keep my clothes in. I have pine cones and pine needles in it.
Some
I
guys,
think that my clothes still smell like that at the end of the night. I can smell it, not outside. I got used to it. But once I got in my truck, then I can smell it on me. So I know that the scent lasted all night. But if I'm using like like you said, like a straight up, no scent on me, like a kill everything type scent.
Yeah.
I try to hit that at the truck, and then once I get in the stand, I do it again because I sweated, I'm moving, and
Sure.
then after that, I just tend to forget about smell altogether. Because
Yeah.
where I hunt in that little hollow, the wind swirls. I can't play the wind. The wind, every night I've ever hunted there, is in 5 different directions.
So when I use an attractant, like I said, I'll use that vanilla, and I learned it from some of the guys that developed that line. What I would do is like at 100 yards out, I'd make a little pie plate. Just kind of, it's a foam, and you stand on that, tamp it, with your boots, and get that scent, and then you walk to your stand. And then once you get to your stand, maybe 20 yards out, make another little pie plate, freshen it up, and then do a 20-yard ring around your stand before you get into your stand. So that's just one way to...
So wherever they're at, they're going to eventually cross it.
They're going to find that, and they're going to come into it or, kind of circle around your stand to find it.
I can see the theory behind it. Sounds good.
Yeah. I mean, that's one thing that I'd learned. And I had 2 deer off of that style, so...
Yeah. And to Will's point too, yeah, for myself, if I'm using some type of attractant or cover scent, typically you're trying to cover your access in. So, like that Conquest scents, the Evercom, like I'll put that on my boots before I walk in, because it's got that smell of a deer, so you're covering up your scent and your foot traffic as well. And then if I'm using a deer-based urine product, usually I put that on some type of scent wick or dragging pad or the pads that you can put on your boots, and same thing.
Even if it's not rut season, I still like to put that up on a licking branch height.
Yep.
Sometimes. I think it gets it into the air, too, where it's on the ground, doesn't get up every road.
Tell me about all these doe and heat, doe and estrus, doe and...
So now you're...
urine
It's all
and this.
pee depending on how the doe feels that day.
Okay.
Sometimes
I'm
synthetics.
just kidding. It's not really that at all.
But yeah, that's all. Now we're into the corner of the market here where we're talking about sexual attractants.
And this is during the rut. So
There's things I would consider to be sexual attractants that are not. They're pre-rut.
Okay.
There's tarsal gland type stuff that falls into that category. There's a ton of stuff out there.
There's doe pee. There's buck urine. There's doe and heat.
Regular pee, in heat pee.
The basic principle behind all that is that's
Sounds
how
pretty straightforward.
Do you ever see a dog pee on a hydrant?
Yeah.
These are how deer communicate with each other through different glands on their legs.
Different smells.
They're different
She
smells.
smells hot.
Yes, they actually can communicate with each other by being in each other's area and marking scents. Because they can smell so amazing. Like, you could walk through the woods and, I don't want to say never, because you can smell a rutting buck now and again. You can catch a wind of a rutting buck pretty rough. But for the most part, all those other scents, naturally, it's pretty hard to pick that up with a human nose in the woods, where if you had like a black light that showed up all them scents, it'd be littered in the woods with deer.
Yeah.
There'd be deer scent everywhere.
The closest thing I ever smelled was the antelope that I shot. Behind, like, there's a black patch right, like, in its jaw. I think I talked about this before, but, like, there's this black patch and there's a gland there. And you've never smelled anything like it. You have to smell it to know what that smells like. But when you smell it, you feel like a strong man. Like, for some reason.
Sagey?
I don't know. Like,
but when you held his head up, your hands would have been around it.
Yeah, when you smell it, like, it makes you feel tougher. Like, you just
testosterone.
It gets you jacked up
pheromones.
because it's like this kind of weird.
You shouldn't. We could bottle that. And
I was just gonna
sell
say.
it to MMA
I'm
fighters.
telling you, at least you should.
Is it
corner the market.
Is it an overwhelming smell, or can you just pick it up?
No. It's like when you're there, you can smell it.
Yeah.
Like, so, but it it's like a very testosterone. Like, it's a very manly odor. And
Old
it's
man musk.
It's a man musk, and it's just like, man, you just get all jacked up, like you want to fight something, or
That's why they run like that.
yeah, they're jacked up.
Man.
It's incredible though, but that's what I can understand. Like, if I'm not smelling pee all day long, but like if I had to liken it to something, in a tarsal gland. A deer tarsal gland.
Where's
not
the
to
tarsal gland on the deer?
The back,
The hind
the
legs.
equivalent of the inside of your knee.
Yeah, but like I'm not.
It's that dark
those
patch
things don't
on their
do it for me like
inside
that
leg.
antelope did. Like,
If
it
wa-
doesn't get you rolling.
Right.
It might make you gag a little bit, but it doesn't.
love it.
Didn't you spray that in your mouth one time or something?
By accident,
I chew
sprayed
on
it
them.
the wrong way.
When I get one down, I'll
Okay.
cut those off first and chew on them
Tuck it in your
while I'm
You know.
Put it in your
lip
lip.
and
You
go.
know.
put it
there
like
and
some
in
beech nut
between
back
your-
in my cheek.
tarsal
man.
beach
would.
nut.
When do you guys get a buck this rut season? Take the glands off and put them in a bag so
Freeze 'em.
Stevie can smell them. Yeah.
We'll put them in Stevie's
So-
We'll
car.
make a keychain out of it.
I got a question about application. So we talked about, like the
Ryan's got the lockdown on that.
like your
Literally.
Jerk.
no, but like on boots,
It's
making a
gotta bring the
trail
ball.
of it. Like a licking branch,
A drag.
Yeah, like a mock scrape, a drag. Like a scent dripper. I've never used this, and I've always been curious about it. Is like the diffuser type things.
Yeah.
Has anybody, what I'm talking about, like where they just like
Nope.
there's a brand that
Never
you kind of
tried
just
it.
turned on and it just
Yeah.
sprays.
Yeah.
Is that
I'm not going to mention the name
Right.
of that company, but the one that I used, I think it was set on some
Go
sort of a
on.
timer, and every 15 minutes while I was in the woods, it went.
it's pretty loud, huh?
Yeah, it was
actually made a
ridiculous
Kegel
loud.
Are you
sound.
sure that wasn't one of those?
Sure, you weren't in my bathroom
Air
last week.
fresheners.
The air freshener that you
Yeah.
put in the
You may. have
That's what it
confused
seemed
that,
like, and then you see this little cloud come out, and it smelled great,
Delicious.
but just the noise that it made,
but pumpkin spice.
and you have to turn
It's
it
the
on.
fall.
Like they make the there's the drippers for a mock scrape.
Right.
And those are, you put the bottle in upside down, and then based on the sun and the temperature, it forces the liquid to come out and drips, but only at
Yeah.
night.
Right.
There's no natural timer on these things. You literally have to turn this thing on. So you put it on, hang it up while you're hunting, and so it's making this noise every couple minutes.
Yeah,
It's like,
it's annoying.
as soon as I have a deer coming in, this thing's going to spook them.
Yeah.
I used it one hunt.
I hope
I have it in a box if you want to try it. It's at home.
No.
Steve, I hope that helped.
it did,
Yeah.
and I hope Ryan mentioned something about mock scrapes. And-
Mock scrapes, not box
I
scrapes.
said mock.
Johann Sebastian
Sorry.
Bach
Mock-
scrape.
I apologize.
Ryan
I thought
said-
you said box scrapes.
Ryan said something about box scrapes.
Yeah.
I hope that we have a better hunt
Renaissance.
topic hat topic about mock scrapes.
You probably
or
do.
scrapes in general
Oh,
coming
boy.
up soon.
I want to say one last thing before we close out this
Yeah.
topic.
Nope.
Yeah.
Check your regs,
Yes.
because there are areas where you can't use attractant scents such as food flavored scents. You can't put out a corn scent in some areas, and I don't just mean Pennsylvania. There are states where that's illegal. Check your regs as far as the sexual attractant scents, because right now, I'm talking just specifically about Pennsylvania, there's CWD areas where
Let's
you're
get
not
it on.
allowed to put out
Yeah.
sexual attractant scents. So check your regs
Yeah.
before you go to the store and buy all the good
Good
stuff.
And-
point, Ryan.
As a general tip, if you're hunting public land, something to consider is sometimes you might be better off not using any scent at all, because if you have a bunch of guys entering the woods throwing a bunch of different scents out there, the deer could actually get used to those different scents, and you could be doing more harm than good, because you could basically be alerting the deer.
Well, that's like anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a goose calls or what,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Anything can overwhelm.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah.
You got that right.
I've been
So
saying that for years.
Yeah, a lot of people are less is more.
yeah.
Yeah. So
I love it, guys. Thank
I
you.
think we did that topic had a little bit of
Oh,
justice.
man.
Sorry.
Oh yeah.
I learned a lot.
Excellent.
Yeah. I know
So,
that's what it's all about.
guys, when we're not laying down some crazy pheromones and making deer hungry
Or
Yeah.
horny.
or horny, where can they find us?
Well, they can find us at ruttenriverpursuits.com. The podcast itself, as always, available on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Castbox. And look for us on all your social media platforms. Facebook, Instagram, and the Twitters. Don't forget to check out the YouTube channel, Rutten River Pursuits Podcast.
Check
And-
out our YouTubes.
Subscribe.
Donnie Bakers!
Naughty Bikers.
Hey, if whenever we aren't mimicking each other and
Right?
and shadowing the things we say,
When is that?
when we're hungry for jerky, what do we do, Deaky?
We just hop over to mfjerky.com and type in the promo code that is good for all items on that website for 15% off, and it is Jerky Pursuits 15.
Yeah, buddy.
15% off jerky.
Yeah, man.
That's a whole lot of
And
beef.
they have that flat rate shipping now.
Oh, man.
It's cheaper to buy it online than to buy it at the farmer's market.
and
I heard
Don't
that.
be tempted at the farmer's market. Hit the jerky 15.
That's
don't
right.
Yeah.
And don't forget to brew a cup of Joe with their roasted pecan coffee while you're enjoying that
I
delicious
can't-
jerky.
They got the pecan.
Oh, they got the pecan.
I can't
Nice.
get enough of
Don't
that.
be tempted at the farmer's market. Pass on the jerky, but buy the peaches.
No,
Gotta sell some peaches,
you
boys.
get it where you can get it. Seriously. It's mfjerky.com. Moses Family Jerky. They do it right. Thanks,
Yeah.
guys.
We'll see ya.
Reagan Weedless.
Dude.
Later.
Incorporated.
Just like hunting
We're
right in the middle of the
patenting that.
mountain laurel or what?
No,
Pretty thick.
it's completely. Kyle doesn't trim anything.
We
And he's like, oh, look, there's an interesting. I can shoot a deer through that hole.
we're like trick shot archers. We like to have a bunch of branches and see how much.
It's
you
the
can
hammer
press.
course of archery. I don't love it. It's not fun. I break arrows.
It's
Say
the
that.
little French wavy thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, call it the French wave. Shift F7.
It's above the 7.
We're on.
Now that
Yeah,
you say
shift 7.
Shift 7.
it. So you want,
Button shift 7.
you want me
pursuits.
to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is gonna take a Madeira.
a good Madeira.
Smooth talk. Talking
a Madeira
Madeira.
silver tongue.
So I already did say go over to betterthanhunt.com.
You can say
Go to
it.
better
You can
We'll
say
start
it
again.
again.
I
No, I got start. All right.
You guys
gotta
fight
get
it out.
the Miser boys are going at it.
I conceded to you last time.
Well, you'll do it again.
So
Get used to it.
Oh, bless your heart. I love you, Will. Go ahead.
No. It's your show.
Oh,
So-
well, now we're gonna have a
all right.
battle over who concedes.
All right.
I
so
concede
I'll
first.
just take it.
I'll
So,
let you
Go
have
ahead.
it.
so before you even talk